Carolina Insider is presented by Wells Fargo, official sponsor of Carolina Athletics.
We're back. Time for another edition of the Carolina Insider. He is Adam Lucas. My name is Jones Angel. The show is brought to you by Wells Fargo. When our communities need us, Wells Fargo is here to help. And we have a great show coming up. Going to look back at a big basketball win for the Tar Heels on Tuesday. Have some football news coming up as well. Great interview with William Blumberg, eight-time All-America for Carolina's men's tennis program. He is returning for a fifth year after his senior year was cut short. Plus, we have our social drive, too. Adam, what's up?
It sounds like a lot.
Yeah, we got a lot going on. Look, there's Adam right there.
I said a lot. You pay attention. You watch right now.
We got a lot to do, and that starts with basketball, Adam. 81-75 on Tuesday night. Carolina able to top Syracuse in the Smith Center, and man, it felt like a really quality win for the Tar Heels. Really, obviously, any win is a good win, but it felt like the last few wins, the Miami game, the Notre Dame game, Adam, that Carolina survived those games and just ended up with more points, which there's nothing wrong with that. But it also felt like this game had some stretches of some real high-quality play from Carolina.
And 3 straight ACC wins. It's hard to be too upset about that. I think when you think about past Carolina teams, you think about the finished product more often than not. You don't think about how they get there. Well, this team is in the process of getting there, and I think you're seeing some signs that some of the pieces are at least present on the table and trying to assemble. They're not there yet, but they're getting there, and that was a good win against a good Syracuse team that has a Hall of Fame head coach. Just imagine if Roy Williams had lost 10 of 11 games to Syracuse, right, what people might say.
Yeah, Carolina now 10-1 in the last 11 games against the Orange. Adam, 2 things about the game before we move forward. Carolina's offensive rebounding was a dominant factor. Tar Heels missed 44 shots in the game, had 24 offensive rebounds, obviously better than 50% ratio there of getting their own misses. And then also, Buddy Boeheim was absolutely on fire in the first half, hit a bunch of difficult shots, had 18 points at halftime, and then did not score in the second half. Leaky Black, a large majority of the time in that second half, had the defensive assignment and played him really well.
I think Carolina's offensive rebounding is so unique because everyone knows the Tar Heels are good at it. It's not like Carolina surprised Syracuse by suddenly being good on the offensive glass. That was the number 1 item on the Syracuse scouting report, I'm sure. Keep them off the offensive glass, and they still couldn't do it. So that is clearly Carolina's best skill at this point in the season. As for Leaky Black's defense on Buddy Boeheim, great first half. He made some incredibly difficult shots. He only took 3 shots in the second half, missed all of them. Leaky train, choo-choo.
So how excited were the Tar Heels after this victory? Let's take a look inside the now much more socially distanced locker room. This is actually inside the practice gym where the Tar Heels are having their locker room set up this season. Because he wasn't going to let Garrison Brooks sneak up on him there on the side.
We were seconds, it looked like, from a brawl right there. Mr. Pickle had to think about, did he want a piece of that? And the answer was no.
A brawl of excitement for the Tar Heels after the big win. So another big game coming up on Saturday. Tough road trip down to Tallahassee against Florida State. That is a noon tip radio-wise. We'll be on the air at 11 a.m. for Carolina and
breakfast with big grits, huh?
Absolutely. 11 a.m. on Saturday morning. Let's go from there to women's basketball. And Adam, for the first time in 3 weeks, the women's team actually was able to play. Unfortunately, they came up short against Miami. It was tied at the half, but the second half was just a difficult second half for the Tar Heels offensively. Courtney Banghard had some positivity, had a positive spin to it, but 1 for 21 shooting and a half. It's going to be tough to win a game like that.
Well, they look like a team that hadn't played in several weeks, especially a team with so many young players. That's how they performed. The ACC women's basketball schedule is just all over the place. Of course, you know you've got one team that's done. Duke has said they've concluded their season. You've got one ACC team that's played 7 league games. The Tar Heels have played 5. How everyone's going to get to the same amount, that's quite a mystery that remains to be seen over these next couple months. Hopefully the Tar Heels can get in some games consistently in the weeks coming forward, because I think that team will get a lot better with those young players.
Yeah, 2 other teams have played 3 times. One's played only twice, so it is all over the board on the women's side right now as they try their best to get through this unique season in college basketball. Adam, let's go from there to football and some big news for a former podcast guest, but more importantly, a former Tar Heel football player, longtime in the NFL as well. That is Harris Barton. He was announced as a member of the latest College Football Hall of Fame class. Tar Heel head coach Mack Brown, speaking of class, had a very classy statement on social media for Harris Barton after he received the honor.
Harris, my friend, congratulations getting in the College Football Hall of Fame. Nobody's more deserving. You did it as a student. You always showed class. One of the greatest players to ever play, not only at the collegiate level, but in the NFL with the San Francisco 49ers. So congratulations from the University of North Carolina football program and the university itself. We are so proud of you, and welcome to the club.
Really great for Harris Barton, and I'm excited for him to be honored as a Hall of Famer.
And I thought what was so neat about that, as Harris Barton told us when he was on the audio pod, it was Mack Brown who really spearheaded that whole campaign and decided he wanted to get Harris Barton in the College Football Hall of Fame. Now he's done it.
Adam, looking forward now to next year, some big news for Carolina this past week as they added a graduate transfer from Tennessee, Ty Chandler, a running back who has been a big part of Tennessee's offense over the last several years, will now have his final year of eligibility happen in Chapel Hill. And you see Robert Gillespie there sharing his excitement. He had had a previous relationship with Ty from his time in Tennessee as well. And, you know, that's a room, Adam, that is losing a lot of talent, of course, from this year with Michael Carter and Javonte Williams moving on. Antonio Williams last year, so the last couple of seasons, losing a lot of experience and talent. And so there's a lot of young talent in that running back room next year for Carolina, but wanted to add a veteran and seemed to have added a very good one.
And I think if there's one thing we learned this year, it's that you're always better off when you have more than one running back carrying the load. Maybe guys who can do a couple different things. Looks like Ty Chandler is one of those guys, but Carolina has some young players, as Jones just said, coming in who aren't even on campus yet. They'll be on campus next week, who they're very excited about. Think they can probably play this coming fall.
2 young guys that'll be joining Carolina football very shortly, although not running backs, are Drake May and Gavin Blackwell. May, of course, a quarterback, Blackwell a wide receiver, and they were named co-MVPs of a 7-on-7 All-America camp this past week. And Adam, will see here in this clip that look up for what will hopefully be one of many, many touchdowns that we'll see these two have in the coming years.
This looks like a connection that we're going to see more of. Gavin Blackwell just looks like a good wide receiver to me, based on my extensive knowledge. Look at that. He knows he's a good player. Also, I support those helmets they're wearing.
Yeah, the safety helmets there. So looking forward to getting those guys on campus here shortly, and congratulations to them. And they will be a part, Adam, of a 2021 Carolina football season that already is starting to generate some excitement with the national championship for this past year just concluding. Already the way too early rankings for next year coming out, and that's some lofty company. The Heels are in there, a bunch of top 15 preseason rankings, and really looking forward to next year.
All you can hope to be is in the discussion at the start of the season, and as you can plainly see, Carolina is going to be in that discussion. That puts you in position. If you play well on the field, all that pays dividends, and Carolina poised for a fun 2021.
Have one of the best quarterbacks in the country, all 5 of your starters on the offensive line coming back, a lot of young talent at the skill positions, a defense that finished the year strong and is adding a bunch of talent as well. So, boy, buckle up. Should be a fun year for Carolina football coming up. We still have our social drive coming up, but that will be after our interview with William Blumberg. As we said, a member of Carolina's men's tennis program. That men's tennis team, one of several teams on campus that was in the national discussion a year ago when COVID stopped the spring campaign. So William and his team about to get going again here shortly. Adam and I had the chance to catch up with him recently. Wanted to let you listen to that. We'll play that interview, come back with our social drive here on the Carolina Insider.
One of the cool things Jones and I talk about a lot of times dealing with Carolina athletics is you can randomly walk across the campus and run into someone who's one of the best in the entire world at whatever their thing is. William Blumberg's thing is tennis, and he is one of the best in the world. Not just one of the best in the country, best in the world. Thanks so much for giving us some time today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You're in this strange situation where you won the Patterson Medal, you won the McCaskill Award, you thought perhaps your Tar Heel career had concluded. Now you're back, and your whole team's back. What was that whole process like?
Yeah, it was strange. It was a strange end of the year. March was a weird time, and through quarantine was a weird time. It was kind of a long process for me to decide kind of what to do. But I was honored that, now finding out that Coach Williams gave us an opportunity to come back, that Bubba and the entire athletic department gave, the seniors an opportunity and everyone an opportunity. So yeah, it's an honor. I mean, it's an honor to win those awards, but we still have a lot to do with our team. We haven't won a national championship while I've been there, so it's definitely something I want to do and my main focus. So I'm excited that everyone came back, and I'm thankful for the opportunity.
William, can you take us back to last March when you did find out that, all of a sudden your season was just pulled out from underneath you, and kind of your emotions and the thought process that went through your mind when you learned that information?
Yeah, absolutely. We were in Miami. It was a Thursday when we found out we were going to play on Friday. And we were finding out that like the SEC and all these other, divisions were kind of canceling or postponing. And then we found out that there was a call. And then we had a meeting with Coach Paul, and he said, yeah, we're going to postpone for a couple of weeks. And then we all went. We kind of were sad. And we all just went and got pizza together, all the guys. The coaches didn't go, it was all the guys. And while we were sitting down eating pizza, we looked on our phones, and it was the head of the NCAA posting that, all programs were canceled and all tournaments were canceled and our season was done. So it was incredibly emotional. I mean, from that point on, a lot of us, shed some tears. We were upset because for us, it was like, we're done. And never in a million years did I think I would come back for a fifth year. My senior season personally was really successful, so I was ready to take the next step. So it was really emotional. It was sad, and we had a lot of things we wanted to do last season, and so it's just kind of a sad day. And I really am thankful for another opportunity.
So at that moment you thought there was no chance you were going to be back, what was the tipping point that made you decide, I do want to do this again?
Yeah, that's a good question. I definitely I would say a few weeks, maybe even a few months, thought like there's just no chance I can go back. I really want to take the next step. I'm ready. My body's healthy. I had struggled with injuries earlier in my college career. I finally felt healthy. I was playing well. And then I had, really good people around me. I had, my family, my parents, my brothers, my girlfriend helped me as a really good sounding board. Her parents helped me just talk through like scenarios, and I did a good job, and they helped me do a good job of just waiting and not making any irrational decisions. And I would say when they started really to not have any professional events in the fall, it really was like August, September, they kept pushing back. There was no events. I was like, okay, it's in my best interest to go back. I just, there's a good schedule. It looks like they're going to be able to play, that football's playing. So it became in my best interest to go back, and probably whenever middle of September, I was like, okay, I'm going to go back. And then I had a meeting with our coaches.
8-time All-America, so singles and doubles. That's such a flex when you are more All-America than there are years that you've been here. Do you ever just drop that info on somebody? Like, no big deal, 8-time All-America.
No, never. It's slightly uncomfortable. I mean, it's good to have in the arsenal, but I definitely don't feel comfortable breaking that out.
You singles or doubles? What do you like better?
It's tough. Doubles is probably a little more fun sometimes. It's a lot like if people ever come watch our matches, a lot of people stay for most of all of doubles and a little bit of singles. It's high pace, quick energy. It's really fun. It's fun to do with another guy. So doubles is probably more fun, but it's nice playing singles when it's just you. It's all on you. You have no excuses. So there's pros and cons of both, but doubles is probably a little bit more fun because it's more energetic.
Adam and I talked to McKenna Jones, gosh, I guess that was a little more than a year ago now, and asked her this same question. So As a tennis player, I'm guessing a large majority of your career has been about you. You're trying to craft yourself. You're trying to improve yourself. And now all of a sudden, you're part of this bigger team aspect of it when you're at the college level. Is that difficult to assimilate in as an individual into what is a team sport at the college level?
Yeah, I think that's, part of what draws a lot of us to college in general is the team aspect. It's being held accountable by others. It's the energy. It's a lot of the, what makes college tennis and college sports fun. It definitely is difficult, though, when you have a bunch of different personalities and you all kind of mesh together. I think that's one thing that, I'm very thankful of going to Carolina. And they, we call it the Carolina family for a reason. But, my 4th and now 5th year at Carolina has been amazing because the guys on the team have really been such a family and been so close. So it's been really an honor to be like that. And it also makes it easier for us because you can have a lot of different personalities and the best teams are always the most selfless. So to answer your question, definitely it's difficult, but it's also kind of one of the most fun things.
Tennis is one of those sports I feel like where because you can play it for a long amount of years, you don't always fully appreciate how much better than you the really good players are. Do you ever run into like 55 or 60-year-old guys who are like, oh, I'm out at the club courts every week, William, I'll take you down anytime you want to, and you just kind of have to think to yourself, I mean, I'm a lot better than you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, of course you get people like that. There are always tough scenarios where, you don't know what to say and you don't want to, drop anything. It's one of those where you quietly know, like, okay, come on, but smile and are like, all right, I hope that's awesome that you're playing. And
Congrats on that 5th place finish in your club tournament in the spring. Good work.
Would Jones and I have any chance of winning 1 point against you if you were legitimately playing?
Wait, is this are we doubles and it's 2-on-1 or is it 1v1 here?
I think it would probably have to be the two of us against William for us to have any shot. If it was the two of us against you, could we get 1 point?
Well, it depends on your level. I mean, but
0. What's below 0?
Yeah, I mean, you probably could. It would depend on if I could, maybe focus the whole time or if I started looking around. I would probably say you probably would.
Yeah, has anybody ever told you look like Mitch Trubisky? Don't you think William looks like Mitch Trubisky?
Yeah, a little bit.
Have you heard that before?
Never.
Oh, we're breaking new ground here on the Carolina Insider.
One thing people I think don't know as much about you is how involved you've been with things at Carolina away from the tennis court. What are some things you've been involved with that have been important to you in Chapel Hill?
Well, there's a lot. I mean, for one being, one of my closest friends in the world is Luke May. A lot of people do know, but not as many people know, how involved he was with the Children's Hospital. And he's just such an amazing human being. And I know you guys got to know him pretty well. I was fortunate to call him one of my closest friends. And he kind of took me under his wing with that aspect, and he would go visit them, start out on Fridays, and then we'd kind of go a lot. And when he left, I continued to do that. But it wasn't about taking pictures. It's not about people knowing. Honestly, it's better that if people didn't, but it was just kind of like nice. We'd go once a week or more a week, and we'd start to bring our teammates or bring friends. And it was awesome to make connections there with Dr. Thompson and just some other of the patients, and just to see them and be there and watch them smile and stuff was something that was a lot more meaningful than anything we'll ever do.
All right, so Carolina begins its team indoor season here in just a couple of weeks. Do you feel, where are you kind of in your preparation, your excitement level, just to finally be back out there and competing?
Yeah, absolutely. We're pumped. We've been back since January 3rd. We've had many COVID tests, which will not stop. But that's good. It's awesome that we have that resource. But we're ready. We're pumped up. We were able to play this weekend, which was awesome. I played a couple of doubles matches and a singles match. Just good. Yeah, working through, little kinks. A lot of us haven't played many matches since March. It's been shut down. So, we've been working on our fitness, on our strength, and now it's time to kind of hone in on our, actual tennis sharpness and stuff. So it's been fun. I think we're all excited. We can feel the excitement in the air. The girls' team's back. The girls are always, incredible, and they're probably a favorite to win the national championship. So it's awesome to have everyone back. It's awesome to kind of feel the energy in our facility, and it's awesome.
Quite honestly, one of the most decorated athletes to come through Chapel Hill, that's William Blumberg of Carolina's men's tennis program. William, thanks so much for joining us, having a good time with us, and man, we wish you the best of luck in this upcoming year. We'll all be watching with a lot of excitement.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
We appreciate William's time here on the show. Our interviews here on the Carolina Insider are brought to you by Coca-Cola, which tastes better together, and a proud partner of Carolina Athletics. And Adam, we were kind of picking with William there about the 8-time All-America, but he's one of 3 people ever to earn 8-time All-America honors. And, of course, we're in a unique situation here, but he has the potential, should he earn that honor again this season, he'd be the first person ever in collegiate tennis to have more than 8 All-America recognitions. Just from start to finish, his career has been excellent.
He's got a chance to be part of a team national champion. He's got a chance to win an individual national championship preseason, ranked number 2 in singles in the country. So looking forward to watching him on the court this year.
Absolutely. Let's get from our conversation with William to our social drive. We're going to take a peek around social media and find some relevant Tar Heel topics. And Adam, that starts with our good friend Danny Green. Danny still getting it done at the NBA level, now with the Philadelphia 76ers. And Danny kind of very publicly had some struggles shooting in the postseason last year with the Lakers, even though, of course, he added another championship ring to his repertoire. But no trouble shooting here for the Sixers. 9 3-pointers for Danny in the win over the Miami Heat.
Could you have ever imagined if we had gone back to 2009 and said, in 2021, you're still going to be talking about one of these players on the national champion Tar Heels? Would you have said probably Danny Green?
Probably not, but what an unbelievable situation for Danny Green, where his best skill is shooting. Basketball has become such a shooter's game in recent years, and he fits perfectly for what's needed at the NBA level.
And another example of a thing we talk about all the time, which is if you are a good guy and not a potential problem, you have the chance to play for a long time. Clearly, he can play, but the fact that you can count on him in the locker room, you can count on him to not cause trouble, that'll help you have a longer career, and he seems to have more years to come.
Another good guy, former Tar Heel, is Theo Pinson. He is now this season, after being with the Nets last year, a member of the New York Knicks. And the Knicks sent out a tweet this week just saying hello and just making everyone understand that they appreciate Theo Pinson, always bringing the energy and excitement, whether he is playing a bunch or not. And certainly as Tar Heel fans, we know that from Theo's time here, and even Theo's time after he left Chapel Hill. You remember this from a season or 2 ago from Carolina's victory over Duke in Cameron Indoor.
Lock in! Sam, you nice! Threw a dime and kept running to the locker room. That's so tough. Oh, you nice. Oh, Nigero punched on my man. Watch your head, Jack. Watch your head, Jack. No, don't worry. Sam already in the locker room. He already in the locker room.
Adam, we should find a way somehow, maybe after the season's over, where we could auction off a watch a game with Theo Pinson experience. I think people would enjoy that.
I don't think there'll ever be a time. I'll be 80 years old, and that video will still be funny.
Absolutely. All right, let's head back and a little farther back to the early 1970s. That's when George Karl was playing for Carolina. Of course, George Karl going on to a highly successful career in basketball, including a head coach for multiple years at the NBA level. He tweeted this out. Adam, look at the media guide cover from 72, 73. George Karl there on the right of your screen in the tucked in fleece, maybe? Turtleneck, looking sharp.
Jones, if you had to wear one of these outfits, I'm going to exclude the one on the far left. Bobby Jones, Don Johnston, George Karl. Which one of those outfits do you think have the best chance?
George Karl definitely got the win, right? I think he's looking dapper.
Well, he's selling it harder than anyone else. The other two, a little uncomfortable. George Karl, he's getting that phone number.
Yeah, no big deal, guy. I'm just flexing my tricep just a little bit to fill out this handsome sweater that I'm wearing. So a good follow, by the way. As always, not afraid to share his opinion, George Karl, out there in Twitter land. So a good follow there on a former Tar Heel. great basketball player, former podcast guest from way back in the first year or two that we had the audio version of the pod. A big part of the pod, if you're a regular listener, is, of course, arm cross serious face photos. And Adam, we got to go. Look, there's Adam doing it right there. We got a good one from men's basketball. Look, Garrison Brooks, a veteran of the arms cross serious face. Jonas Saratian. Armando's trying to be a little friendlier in the middle there, but all three looking good.
We basically taught Garrison Brooks how to do that down in former Pod Mobile World headquarters. You remember that? We had to show him what to do, and he's carried it onto the court here. Jonas with a solid effort.
Look, Caleb Love coming up from the back there trying to figure out what's going on.
Well, see,
just a freshman.
He's like the young freshman who's not sure if he can pull off the arms cross serious face. But Garrison Brooks, Mr. Pickle, little gerb, you nailed it.
All right, let's go from there to football. Of course, the playoffs underway. We had super wild card weekend this past weekend, and some Tar Heels making some noise, including for the second consecutive week, MJ Stewart with a big interception to help the Browns over the Steelers.
The year. Benny Snell is the running back. TJ is the likely winner of that award as the pass is intercepted at the 50-yard line.
I feel good if you're a Browns fan picking up your first playoff victory since the 1990s. Tough assignment coming up for MJ and the Browns, though, as they'll see Kansas City in the next round. Adam, Mitch Trubisky got the start for the Chicago Bears, did not get the win against the New Orleans Saints, but did he get something more valuable? Perhaps, as he was named the MVP from Nickelodeon. This game, of course, was broadcast both through regular channels, I believe it was on CBS, and then also on Nickelodeon. And Adam, there you go, Mr. Trubisky, MVP.
That is the actual trophy right there that you see.
Yeah, you're going to see the trophy here in a second, I think.
I guess that's an item he'll treasure for the rest of his career.
Look at all the slime going on. They didn't get to the slime zone, unfortunately, for the Bears till the very end of the game. But Mr. Trubisky, be interested to see what his future holds and whether or not that is in Chicago or some. There it is, Chicago or somewhere else. There it is, Adam. We need to get one of those.
I feel like it wouldn't be that difficult to get one.
Yeah.
I've already won PVP, Pod Valuable Player. I gave that to myself.
Yeah, and with that, I think it's time to say goodbye. All right, so a reminder, Carolina basketball Saturday. That's an early game. It's a noon game. We'll be on there at 11 a.m., Carolina and Florida State in Tallahassee. Also, a reminder, a bunch of the fall sports were pushed to the spring. So here in the next couple of weeks, there are going to be a ton of Carolina athletics getting underway. There's going to be a boatload of sports going on. We look forward to carrying all that for you and covering all that for you here on the Carolina Insider. For now, we say goodbye. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week on the Carolina Insider.
See you later, Big Grit.